Welcome to Rooted and Reaching, a podcast about startups and entrepreneurs in the South Bend Elkhart region of Indiana. My name is Nick Kuhn.
And I'm Bethany Hartley. Today, I'll be speaking with Johan Vazquez from Guac N Squat, and he'll be sharing a bit about his guacamole business, what gave him this idea, and his new entrepreneurial venture. We hope you enjoy. All right. Well, Johan, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you started your companies, your brands? Yeah, just share a bit with us.
Sure. So the idea of Guac N Squat came around when I wanted to do food and serve people. I love serving people. I love inviting people to my home. And I think that's part of my Mexican hospitality, my background being Mexican. I love just taking care of people. And so I made a food and I'm like, maybe I should sell this food. I went to the health department. They were not okay with that unless I had a commercial kitchen. So I'm like, all right, what can I do? And after a long story and a lot of battles, I decided to do guac. And so I started selling guac. February 2019, I sold my first guac after a lot of trial and error. And after that, it was a smash hit and it just kept progressing. It wasn't fast by any means, and it's a lot of hard work. But yeah, people just told me, like, you have something here with your guac. I'm like, I guess. I mean, it's just guac. It's what I know guac to be. I gave it to my mom, who's from the heart of Mexico, and she's like, nah, you got something going on here. I was like, no way. If my mom says I have something, like, that means a lot. And then everyone just loved it. 95% turnover rate. Whenever someone tries my guac, they love it, you know? Yeah. 5 people, we pray for them, and then we let them go on their way, you know?
But the 95 is pretty good.
Yeah.
So then how did you go from guac to peanut butter and popsicles? And
the freedom I got from being a self-employed entrepreneur allowed me to, hey, I have all this time that I spent with my family, but, you know, I don't want to be with my kids 24/7. They need their space to be creative in what they are. So I had the idea, I want to make my own peanut butter. I bought this fancy food processor. What else can it do? And I found out how to make peanut butter. I was like, oh, I want to try peanut butter because I love peanut butter, and all the peanut butter in the stores has all this sugar and garbage. I'm like, why does every peanut butter have sugar? Like, peanuts are good on their own. Why do they have to have sugar? So I made my own, and then I was like, oh, this is pretty good. You know, this is pretty simple. And then I made something called Choco Gravel, which is out of the 4 flavors I sell, the best selling. And it just inspired me. Okay, let's make more, you know? And so I bought a $4,000 machine of a peanut butter mill. And then I just started throwing peanut butter out there, seeing what people would think. And a lot of what my business has been is just, hey, let me try this. If people like it, they'll buy it. And if they don't, hey, you got to try something once, and I'm moving on.
Yeah.
You know?
Have there been any that you've had to move on from?
Oh yeah. There's a lot. I mean, I love failure because it allows me to learn and to continue to grow. And I also like when I do hit success because it allows me to keep 2 things in mind, which is perseverance and consistency. That no one just wants your one hit wonder as far as food goes. They want to make sure that one hit wonder is consistent every week. Because if not, then you're kind of wavering, you know? I think people expand too fast and they're like, oh, let's make 60 items. It's like, nah, dog, like, make sure your 5 are good, and then you can expand, you know? So I think with my peanut butter and my guac, I really mastered and, you know, really bunkered down on what's important: the quality, the ingredients, and the consistency. And also I wanted to make sure that it was affordable price for everyone. I didn't want to go up and down in pricing. I priced it accordingly, and through all the highs and avocado shortages and the lows, my product has stayed consistently affordable.
It's really important.
Thank you so much. Well, I cared for my people. I wanted to make sure they were happy with my product.
Yeah. So I'm curious, where do you source your ingredients from?
So there's several guys that go out to Chicago every week and go to the international market, and I'll give them a list of things I need, and then they'll come to me. Local grocers, local markets have refused to work with a small company like me unless I'm ordering pallets of avocados. And I cannot go through a pallet of avocados no matter what I do. Yeah. So I decided to just, for avocado's sake, just look anywhere locally. Walmart, Aldi, Kroger, Meijer, whoever gives me the best deal and doesn't give me some sketchy avocados, I will always go for that.
Okay, very cool. Well, we have a lot of food entrepreneurs in the region, and when we talk about the region, we're talking about, South Bend Elkhart region, so pretty broad group. And there's some that do package, some do fresh, that sort of thing. Kind of, can you talk a little about some of the challenges you've had as a food entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur as a whole? Like, what are some of those obstacles you've had to overcome or lessons that you've learned? It doesn't have to be tied to product, but what has that been like for you?
Definitely just a lot of perseverance in the toughest of times. I started my company 1 year before COVID. And so I saw 2019 as like, oh, look, this is a great year. It went well. Let's double up.
Yeah.
Little did anyone know what was about to happen. And the farmers market got hit hard because there was a limited occupancy. There was masks, so people couldn't sample and stuff like that. So it really boggled my brain as to like, okay, am I going to make it? And I was providing for my family 24, like all of this was for my family. I had no other job. I had no other income. It was just guac. And so I made it work. And I had to, because that human instinct, my back's against the wall. And if I don't do this, my family's going to go hungry. Yeah. And my wife needs that financial stability. So I have no other choice. I don't have that comfort that a lot of people do have, and they refuse to change because like, I'm comfortable. Why would I change? I didn't have that. And the biggest problem has been being in Michiana, very far away from my people. People have an idea of what Mexican cuisine is. And they see the color of my guac, they see the ingredients, they see the quality, and then they see the price. They're like, why is this guac so expensive? And why is it not the color I'm used to? I have one called Campfire, which is very dark because I use ancho powder, which is a very dark. And so getting that perspective to people is like, just try it. I suck at words. Just try it, please. And then once they try it, they're like, whoa. What else do you have? Well, I have 9 other flavors. I have a garam masala guac. I have an Olympian guac with feta cheese. And they're like, I want to try it. And I built that reputation with my customers of like, whatever Johan sells, I trust. And it got to a point where I don't need any more samples, Johan. Just sell me everything. So when I started doing tamales, like they exploded. And they become such a huge hit. But the biggest struggle has been getting into a Michiana mentality of like guac is for lunch, dinner, and breakfast. It's not just for barbecues in the summer. And getting people to get to that shift, kind of like hummus a couple of years ago. Yeah, no one bought hummus, and now it's like everyone's favorite snack.
Yeah, it goes on everything.
Exactly. And I've been kind of going against the grain, trying to teach people like guac is for everything: pizza, hot dog, chili, burgers, whatever you want. It's not just for dip and chips. You know? Yeah. Aside from that, it's just finances too. Making sure that we're on top. But in all 4 years I've been in guac, I've never been in the negative. I've always been profitable in everything I've done. And we're not super well off, but we're happy because what's important to me is my family.
Yeah. So talking a little about your family, what is their role in your company?
Their role is to just give me a lack of loneliness. Yeah. Taking up my love, taking up my space in my heart and in my mind, giving me something to live for. My little girl, Papa, you're home, it's like getting a hug. It's like, yes, like I'm doing it. And also giving my wife the opportunity to provide for them, staying at home, which is where both her and I like for her to be. Homeschooling. She's homeschooling our 2 kiddos. And then just living in a small 1-bedroom apartment as a small fam bam while trying to do this whole business has kind of just kept me going. And with the free time I give to them, like, hey, let's go to the park. Let me show you caterpillars. Let's find a pupa. Let's find sticks. Let's find all this. It's just cool to be able to be there. I was there for their first steps, both of them. And I was there for their both first words. And no amount of money can buy that. Right. Money will come later. But right now, my focus is my kiddos. Yeah. Should I have started this before I had kids? Probably. But it doesn't matter. I have them now, and I would never give them up. No amount of money could ever change that.
Do you think you could ever go work for someone again?
It's hard. It really is hard. After all these years, I've been a carpenter, graphic designer, closet designer, motorcycle repairman, prep guy, all kinds of stuff, right? And through it all, I was like, what is my role as my family? What do I enjoy? And through all my occupations and everything I've done, I've learned that I'm not a guac man. I'm not a chef. I'm not a carpenter. I'm not a graphic designer. I'm an inventor and a problem solver. And what that has allowed me to do is focus on making money out of problems that exist, and then making or problem solving using lean manufacturing. You know, sorry, did I answer that properly?
You did. Yeah,
All right,
that was
sweet.
great.
So,
So when you look ahead to what you're doing, what's on the horizon for you and your company?
Really, the next level for guac and peanut butter would be to distribute that locally on a kind of more commercial market, Martin's, Myers, stuff like that. Working in with Ben's Pretzels, I make a cream cheese as well with a brand called Schmear, and it allows me to partner with these companies if they see the potential. But getting into that distribution would be nice. Working with a co-packer and getting some insurance and liability on my products would be nice.
Okay. When I guess before you started this, you mentioned a few different occupations. I'm looking at some of the things you brought, and you built your sign, you built this, and just speak a little, like, how do you incorporate that into your company, all of the things you love to do?
So yeah, I going from job to job in the last 8 years, I've had 6 different jobs. I've just learned how to take everything, every opportunity I've always put in my pocket. I've never considered anything a failure, but rather it's on pause, and there's so many other companies I won't mention because it's just so much that's going on in my life. And obviously I've been able to use branding and marketing when I was a marketing director at a ministry in Texas to put into Guac N Squat. I used to work for a company called Carved, making wooden cell phone cases.
Oh yeah.
I made their logo. That's my handwriting.
Oh, very cool.
And I was able to use their woodworking skills that they taught me for my signage. So everything's always a learning opportunity, and I never see anything at a waste of time, and I've obviously shows my product. I want to be consistent with everything, and I want to put my heart and soul into it because I have no other choice. It's my occupation. It's what I love doing at the end of the day, taking care of people's nutrition and making sure they're getting a cool product.
Yeah. So I'm curious, you've mentioned roots in Mexico,
yes,
being in Texas, and I think you're in Elkhart County now. So how did that happen?
So I was at a ministry school in Texas, and unfortunately I was the marketing director for there. I was doing all the graphic design and stuff. And then the ministry financially collapsed because of poor decisions on leadership. So 300 interns, myself included, had to go home. We were serving missionary, all this kind of stuff, amazing outreach all over the United States and around the world. And then we had to go home. We're like, what do we do? Like, this sucks. And then I was on my way back to Texas, or back home in Texas. And all of a sudden I was like, God, what do I do? And I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to go back home and start working with my dad. He's like, nah, your plan sucks. Your mom's moving to Indiana. Your aunt and uncle are there. Go start a life there. And so I did. And I got a job at Carved 2 days later, getting paid pretty well for the time. And I was like, wow, what a blessing.
Yeah. Very interesting. It sounds like everything kind of fell into place, but with purpose, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. And the biggest thing is obedience and perseverance.
Yeah.
Faithfulness and, what I believe.
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of leads to, we have a lot of entrepreneurs in the region, and I'm curious, with all of what you've been doing and where you're going, some advice that you would give to fellow entrepreneurs if they're struggling or if they're stuck. What would you say?
First is get over yourself. You can't do everything by yourself. And second, seek help. I like the idea of community, building relationships, and I do good at connecting with people and building relationships. And whatever I can't do, they can help me get there. And whatever my skill set allows them to do, we trade. It's kind of like a bartering of businesses and bartering of skill sets. Like, hey, you help me, I help you, or hey, help me out, I'll pay for your services if I can't, offer you anything in return. And I think really connecting yourself with a good community and group of friends, stop trying to be greedy and doing everything yourself, has allowed me to see other ventures that if I was doing everything myself, I would be overwhelmed. I didn't want to do accounting, so I paid for that because I hate all that stuff. It's annoying to me. I hate designing websites and all that. So even though I'm a branding specialist, I hate websites. So I sourced that out, So anything you can't do, ask for help. I think it's a lot of things that stops people is pride and comfort. Comfort. If you're comfortable, like, you will never get to where you want to be, because why change? Why put extra effort when you're already happy where you're at?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
Sorry, no, I'm put on the spot. Yeah. I mean, I guess aside from what I've already said, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help, and offer my time to help whoever will listen.
Yeah.
And that's my policy. I'll only help the people who want to help themselves, but I won't help anyone who won't.
Yeah.
And my policy is my door's open. All you have to do is walk through it.
So what is your virtual door? How do people find you?
Just message me on Facebook, and then we can start a conversation from there.
And what's your Facebook page?
Guac N Squat.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Great.
look up Guac N Squat.
It's a pretty unique name. I don't think anyone else has it.
Thank you so much. Well, one person on Instagram does, and that's why I'm on Instagram. I'm guacansquat.official. It's like, whoever this cheeky person is, congrats, you've officially angered me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.